The Supreme Court is already set to put America back several decades, as these Supreme Court justices, most of them conservative by a 6-3 majority, are undoubtedly going to make rulings on things like Roe v. Wade, like other labor protections, that will basically take us back to the age of the Industrial Revolution. But that's even more so the case for Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, who clearly, because of his wife's connections to far-right groups and activist causes, could have in some way influenced his decisions on the bench. Now, I also think that there is also some financial things going on with these two, but that's unclear at this point. One thing is clear, and that's that Ginni Thomas, who is the wife of Clarence Thomas, has been involved in far-right activism for many decades. And she's out there basically spreading the lies about January 6th, spreading the lies about the 2020 election, praising MAGA people, praising the insurrectionists, essentially calling the left fascists, when she is in fact supporting the very people who support fascism. And look at Clarence Thomas. I mean, he is the only one who has dissented among the conservatives on the Supreme Court on a number of cases in recent weeks, and months and years really, because if you look at how Justice Roberts has ruled on things, even Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh have supposedly broke ranks from time to time, voting in the right way, in the right direction, as has Amy Coney Barrett. It's Clarence Thomas who has been the most consistent in his conservative ideology in his rulings. And it is possible a lot of that has to do with his wife. Now, the Supreme Court has already made a joke out of itself with some of its rulings and its ideological pursuits right now. That's obvious. But this just takes it to a whole new level. I mean, we already see the corruption going on in Congress. Nancy Pelosi, Dan Crenshaw, Joe Manchin, and Kyrsten Sinema in the Senate, among others. Well, now you have a Supreme Court justice who basically, it seems, listens to his wife when it comes to how he rules on certain issues. Because he has been the biggest Trump bootlicker on the Supreme Court. Ever since Trump was president, he was the one that stuck with Trump no matter what. He was the one that through all the Supreme Court cases that were heard regarding the election from Trump's lawyers, he was the one always saying, yeah, Trump's right. All hail Trump. You know, let him be president again, because my wife is telling me to, and she supports these groups, so, you know. So Clarence Thomas is an embarrassment, okay? He needs to be kicked off the court. There are mechanisms to do this. The Supreme Court can, you know, do it themselves. Congress can impeach and remove this justice. Ha ha ha, that's never going to happen. But we need to start putting pressure on Clarence Thomas, on the rest of the Supreme Court justices, and the rest of our representatives. Get this guy off the Supreme Court. He is clearly not in a position to be making these types of rulings. He has too many conflicts of interests here. Now, his ideology aside, the fact that his wife is involved in these things, that she supports fascism, and listen, when she calls people far-left fascists, what does that even mean? Fascism, by definition, is on the right, the far right. With a fascist dictatorship, it's like, it's my way or the highway. Well, that's what's coming from these people on the right. They're like, no, no, no. You people on the left, you're evil, you're commies, you're just like, you're vermin, you're enemies, you don't like it, go live in another country. They're the ones saying that. People on the left aren't saying that stuff. People on the left are saying, we want to include everybody in the process. Like, for instance, if we had ranked choice voting here in the state of Virginia, we would be including everybody. Democrats, Republicans, Independents, Socialists, Communists, DSA, Libertarians, it doesn't matter. They would all be included. By default, they would all instantly have ballot access, and they would all have a fair shot at making their case to win an election. Okay? That's just one example. But these people on the far right just want, no, 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 no. Our ideology is supreme. Nothing else matters. We want everything our way, and we're going to kill everybody that doesn't see things our way. They've come out and said it multiple times. And this guy's wife is saying the exact same thing, pushing conspiracy theories, basically praising the insurrectionists, praising MAGA, praising Trump, and Clarence Thomas is doing the exact same thing. He clearly has conflicts of interests that disqualifies him from being on the bench. So I would call upon all voters in this country, all Americans in this country, who care about justice, who care about restoring integrity to the Supreme Court, get this guy out. Put pressure on. Put pressure on him. Put pressure on his wife. Put pressure on politicians. Fuck. Put pressure on the goddamn media. You know, I will say this. I will put a link to a couple of videos below because Mehdi Hassan on MSNBC did a pretty good segment about this recently, as did the Young Turks recently. So I'll put a link to those videos below. But we need to see a lot more of this from the mainstream media, and we need to see, you know, groups across the country from all parts of the political landscape get on the case of this guy, get on the case of his wife and the rest of the court justices and all of the Congress people and senators. Get this guy out. He's an embarrassment. He is a clear and present danger to the integrity of our justice system. So let's hope people can wise up and do the right thing, but I'm not holding my breath on this. But Clarence Thomas is clearly an example of everything that's wrong with Washington, D.C., everything that's wrong with our system in general, and everything that's wrong with the way we do things here in this country.